So for this problem, we're going to be solving a radical equation with two separate radicals in the problem. The main idea is, of course, we want to square both sides to get the radicals to go away. But the problem is, with this subtraction sign right here in the middle, we're going to have to FOIL if we want to square both sides. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to add one of the radicals, let's take the x plus 2, to the other side. And what this will do for us is this isolates one of our radicals, the 2x plus 2. So we end up with 2x plus 2, these guys will cancel, equals the square root of x plus 2 minus 1. Okay, now we're all set to square both sides. The key with squaring both sides is you're only allowed to put two sets of parentheses with squares. The one over here on the left-hand side is awesome because this square is going to cancel out with this square root, and what we're left with on this side is 2x plus 2. The one on the right-hand side is a little bit more challenging because we have this subtraction sign that's outside of the square root, which means really if we want to square this one, unfortunately, we're going to need to multiply the square root of x plus 2 minus 1 times itself. Okay, so we'll practice multiplying that right-hand side right now, but the left-hand side is going to stay just 2x plus 2 for a while. So when we multiply these together, root x plus 2 times itself is just going to be x plus 2. Root x plus 2 times negative 1 is going to be negative root x plus 2. Same thing with these two. Negative 1 times root x plus 2 is negative root x plus 2. Oh, we're going to run out of room. And then negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1. Okay. Now we're going to combine a bunch of like terms here. So again, still have just 2x plus 2 over here on the left. Okay, some terms that combine, easy ones to see are the 2 and the negative and the 1 over here. So we're going to make this an x plus 3. And then these two radicals combine, the negative square root of x plus 2 and the negative square root of x plus 2. Don't forget the coefficients in front of these two guys is both a 1, or actually in this case a negative 1. So we have negative 1 root x plus 2 minus 1 root x plus 2 gives us negative 2 root x plus 2. Okay. Now what we have here, we've gotten rid of one of our radical signs, but not both of them. We still have this root x plus 2 all the way over here. So now our task is going to be to isolate that one, just like we did the previous one, and then square both sides. So let's move over the x and the 3. We'll subtract x from both sides. We'll subtract 3 from both sides. So what we'll end up with is x minus 1 equals negative 2 square root x plus 2. Okay, so now what we're going to do is square both sides. I'm going to flip to the next page because I need a new one. Okay, so we had x minus 1 equals negative 2 times the square root of x plus 2. We'll square both sides just like we did last time. Again, you can only put one set on the left, one set on the right. When we square both sides on the for the left-hand side here, we're going to have to FOIL. I'm going to do that kind of quickly. This is going to turn into x squared minus 2x and plus 1 on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, thankfully we don't really have to multiply or FOIL to multiply these together because it's just multiplication between the negative 2 and the root. So I'm going to square those factors one at a time. Negative 2 squared is 4. And the square root squared is just going to cancel with the square root and the squared. So we've got x plus 2. Okay. Now we're going to distribute the 4 through there, so we've got x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 4x plus 8. And this is a quadratic equation, so the best way to solve it is to get 0 on one side, and I really like that our x squared is currently a positive, so I'm going to move the 4x to the other side and move that 8 to the other side by subtracting. So we'll have x squared minus 2x minus 7 equals 0. Oh, x squared. Wait a minute. That's not right. X squared. How about negative 2 minus 4 is 6? There we go. Okay. Now, I always check to see if it factors, because factoring is so much quicker than anything else, and this factors pretty easily. Factors to x minus 7, x plus 1 is equal to 0. So our two solutions are going to be, for now, are going to be x equals 7 and x equals negative 1. Okay. Now, one of the things about these quadratic equations are usually going to give you two answers, but all equations with radicals in them must have their answers checked one at a time. So I think I can fit this over here. So when we go to check x equals 7 and to plug this in, now our original, the beginning was this, root 2x plus 2 minus the square root of x plus 2 equals negative 1. So that's what I'm going to plug in our numbers to this next page. So we're going to have, let me draw a line here. We're going to have, plugging in x equals 7, the square root of 2 times 7 is 14 plus 2 minus 7 plus 2. And this is hopefully equal to negative 1, but I'm going to put a little question mark over because I don't know if it is equal to it. 14 plus 2 is 16, so we'll have the square root of 16 minus the square root of 9. Hopefully this is equal to negative 1. But this is not looking good. This is going to be 4 minus 3, which hopefully is equal to negative 1. No, 4 minus 3 is 1. Which is not true, which means that x equals 7 is not one of our answers. Okay, when we plug in x equals negative 1 into our original function, we're going to get the square root of negative 2 plus 2 minus the square root of negative 1 plus 2, hopefully equals negative 1. Put my little hopefully here. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0, so this is the square root of 0 is 0, minus the square root of 1. But this does look good, because the square root of 1 is just 1. 0 minus 1 is negative 1 equals negative 1, so this checks. So x equals 1 is our answer.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.